Now we're looking to see how Vince's paint has dried up. It's got its first initial coats of clear on it. This is going to need to be sanded out, and the final coat. And we hope tomorrow it'll be, well, we're just doing this while the baby's napping, to be honest. Now, one of the things I always like to do before putting on the last coat of clear, the best way I've found to really get that really, really nice finish is to get 2 or even 3 coats of clear on. And just before putting the last coat of clear on, wet sand it all with a hard block. And any spot that's flat, and with the soft block, and avoiding these ridges as much as possible. Now, it's supposed to be a paintable day tomorrow, we'll find out. But I thought I'd take the little time I have here while the baby's napping to get some of this done, get a little head start on it. Again, because we have so many jobs here at the same time. But if you skip this step and just wet sand it out and buff it, it really doesn't come out the same. It's really, this is the best way I know to do it. Now, a lot of times I've been tempted to leave out this step. And yeah, again, I say this over and over again. These parts, this was not a real, we didn't have to do a gas tank or anything, but, and the color was really, that color in the bright sun really looks spectacular. But, you know, even in a little time I had today, I had a little time, the baby was napping, and this is what allows me to get, well, more done than if I, well, if I didn't do it this way. And that color, it doesn't really look that great here. Let me see if I can see this. Take something you can see the reflection. It's going to be beautiful. And once we get that last coat of clear on here, then the buffing part of this will be just as easy as pie. But I got this much done while the baby was napping, but you know what? You never know when he's going to wake up. Now, I just wanted to check Turbo Steve's parts. They look like they're drying up pretty nice. And you can see what I've done is I've had them up by a heating vent. And that, I think, Steve, I think that's going to be spectacular. I think that's going to add. Now, one thing we didn't do when Steve was here, I didn't get a chance to get a picture of his on the motorcycle, what his little concept drawings were like. But I think that's going to add a nice little touch. And it's funny, I said to him, as I thought what would look cool is he was going to paint his brake calipers black. I thought I thought this would be a great idea, and he already had. What? Are you awake?
I found the Lamborghini.
You found the Lamborghini. How about finding me a real one? All right, look at that. Did you have a nice nap?
Yeah, I found this one that was gonna.
Let me see that Lamborghini. It looks like it matches my Kawasaki. Wow.
He's a Hot Wheels car.
These Hot Wheels?
Yeah.
What about me? Am I a hot Grandpa Windy? Look at those feet. Check these feet out. Look at this. Show me how many cars you have. Show me how many cars you have. Take those cars out. Come on, you just woke up. He's not really awake yet. That's your marble run I'm making you. And it's not a light sword, it's a marble run. So anyway, you can see, get a little taste for what goes on in my life.
This is all marbles.
Now this morning, it's just, I just babysitting all the stuff I worked on in the previous days. I want to try to, the goal here is, even though we have a lot of projects underway, I'm trying to plan this out in an efficient way. Vlad has his paint, he's coming Friday. And I wanted to try to get Vince's bike that he could pick it up over the weekend. We may be able to get that today because, believe me, look at the day. It's just a spectacular day. And we're going to try to use most of this day to get a, well, try to get Vince #1. I know, yeah, try to prioritize this stuff. Now, Obviously, we want to get everything done, but Vince is the one that's got the bike registered. Look at this day. Holy mackerel. This is truly if we didn't have this much work, I'd be out riding already. Now, we got some of this done yesterday, but today, these are the bigger parts. And I'm kind of excited about the fact we have a really nice paintable day out there. Now, of course, because we painted this outside and we know we're going to buff it, it always has these little spots in it from the little, the paint is actually fly paper and the wind is blowing and whatever. But a lot of this now, because this is a lot of compound curves, I'm going to try to do most of this by hand. If there's any flat spot, I want to use soft blocks or hard blocks. And there were a couple of fisheye spots we had on here that I'm not sure I'm going to have to do a touch-up on until I actually get this last coat of clear. And again, just to be able to have a wonderful day like today to paint, wow, it's actually supposed to snow later in the week. But another good thing, Ray and his wife Marilyn are up here from Florida. We're going to go to dinner tonight. I'll get to hear about all his racetrack adventures. And Ray is, of course, my lifelong friend for back into the 70s, I guess. And he's got that cool KTM 390. Well, if he's up here from Florida, I bet he's liking this weather better than Florida. Anyway, let me just get one little area this time. And my goal is that Vince can pick this up over the weekend, of course. But you know, we're never going to rush it. If it takes 2 weeks, it takes 2 weeks. And we're trying to prioritize so that, because spring is on the way here, some of these people, they're not going to register and ride the bike right away, and some are. And Vince, I'm sure, wants to have this bike back. Now, let me just show this. This is what we're trying to do. With this coat of clear, before we put the final coat on, we want it to all be flat as possible before we put the next coat on. Now, thanks to the fact we have an unbelievably spectacular day, I think this last coat of clear is going to go on here just beyond good. That is really going to be nice. Everything block sanded out. There's really no spots on there that are going to need any more touch-ups, and we're ready to spray clear. You couldn't imagine how nice this day is after this winter that we've had. Wow, unbelievable. We're moving. The problem is the wind is shifting. We got a little bit of wind, nothing I can't live with. What a day. I see the wind blowing this way. Now the biggest challenge is going to be, but can you see this? Wow. You may not even have to buff these parts off. Because it's basically, a big part of it is because of the weather. It really is a day that'll live in infamy here. Wow. Come on, wind, just hang out for another hour and I'll be done with this. Don't drop it. I don't know if you can see how nice this came out, Vince, but wow. Now that last piece, I got to jig it up. I thought I'd bring out the laundry basket and try to make some kind of jig here, because it's such. This one is easy to paint. The other one is really difficult. Now finally, after all this, I figured out how to hold it apart in a realistic way. I know, Vince, that really came out nice. Wow. I'm really happy with that. That is really nice. And obviously now the next step is that's got to dry 2 days before we do anything. And maybe it's, to be honest, maybe it's, this is one of the few parts it's probably nice enough not to even have to buff it. I think most people can see the quality of that work. Wow. Vince, I hope you like it.